Hey, it's John with Naptown Buzz. I'm here live at the Comic-Con 2016. This is Scott Zambelli. Did I pronounce that right?
That is correct.
All right, fantastic. He's got some really cool artwork, some really nice stuff. I just wanted to show off and check out the very cool style. And then this is really neat too. Something you don't see at every booth. Really cool. It's Serenity. We've got the Falcon, and then Doctor Who. Some unique, cool little, looks like old photographs. So, Scott, tell us a little bit about your artwork. How long have you been doing on the con circuit?
The con circuit I've been doing consistently for about 7 years now, and then I've been doing artwork professionally for a lot longer than that, though. But
okay, yeah. And do you do a lot of Midwest cons, Indianapolis, Chicago, things like that?
Yeah, I live out north of Detroit, so the Midwest is where I primarily do it, but I do a lot of shows outside of that area too. I do San Diego, MegaCon over in Florida, Phoenix, all over the country.
Now, I noticed, like, your style, you've got, I mean, if we take a look at this real quick, you've got everything from current stuff from Arrow, you've got the stuff that looks like old newspapers, old photographs, and then some of the retro with the Batgirl. Some really cool. I like the perspective here inside Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. What's probably your favorite character to draw, you know?
I'm a big fan of Star Wars, so I love drawing anything Star Wars, and then I've been blessed with being able to actually do official Star Wars art for Lucasfilm also, so I have stuff through Acme Archives, and I do a lot of their trading card sets and sketch card sets, so that's probably my favorite topic.
So you've actually done some work for Lucas.
Yes.
That's really amazing. Now, if we were to, can people buy that stuff? I mean,
yeah, if you go on, it's acmearchives.com is the website, and they license the fine art. They're like the fine arts arm of Lucasfilm for their licensed prints, and I got some stuff on there. That's
really cool. So whenever we go to that website and buy that stuff, do you still get a commission on it, or do they own it all now? Or
yeah, there is. It could be different for different artists, but my understanding for most of us, it's pretty much the same. It's where you get royalties on what's sold, and then you get artist prints that you can resell and things like that.
All right, fantastic. Now, what is the medium here? Because, like I said, you know, this looks like old newspaper photograph.
Well, this one was more of a Photoshop. I painted the trees real fast, then using Photoshop, I put it together. But usually, what my process is like here you can see. This is the original in pencils, and then I scan it in the computer, and then I digitally paint my colors on top.
Now tell me a little bit about this, because you don't find a lot of religious prints at the conventions, and I think that's kind of unique. This is something that I don't see at a lot of tables. So tell me a little bit about this particular piece.
This particular piece is talking about it's the passage in the Bible about the adulterous woman. I do a lot of Christian artwork too, and I also do some published work here, and I'm currently working on a comic book version of the New Testament is what I'm working on right now. So that'll be coming out later this year. So basically, in this particular piece here that we're talking about was in this book here. So, whenever I get a chance, I like to do a lot of Christian artwork too.
That's really awesome. I like that. I like, you know, supporting your beliefs and bringing that out. Not just doing whatever's popular, but having a little bit extra alternative and having some cool stuff in there. Now, you've done some, it looks like this is, now, for the people who aren't familiar with it, Marvel has produced several different comic books that they just have a plain white cover, and allowing artists to do this where they get to put their own portrayals on the covers and they get to do a lot of fun stuff. So tell me a little bit about what you've done here. This is pretty cool.
This particular piece is marker and ink that I did it in, and it was a concept I've had in my head for a while, where we've seen Leia disguised as a bounty hunter in Return of the Jedi, and I thought it'd be neat to show her disguised in something we haven't seen her in, and so I put her in a TIE pilot uniform there. So I kind of have a story in my head when I like to come up with stories in my head as I draw these things. So that's what I was doing there.
That's pretty cool. And then on the Vader, what do we have back there?
Now this particular piece was inspired by the actual story that's in this comic book. Darth Vader does actually come face to face with Jabba, so I wanted to capture it from a little different angle than what they showed it in the book. So that's what I got there.
That's one thing that I noticed from this here to inside Vader's TIE Fighter, the adulterous woman, all of this. You have a really good way of putting things in a unique perspective. It's kind of cool. I like that a lot. So what kind of, if you don't mind, what's like some of your big inspirations that you've had?
Big inspirations? Ooh, geez. Well, growing up, I was always reading either watching cartoons or reading various comic books. You know, for my age, at the time, the Transformers comic book had just come out, so that just really sparked my imagination. And then Todd McFarlane and that whole wave where when Image started, that just kept feeding my imagination and inspired me to want to draw more and more and more. And it just grew from there.
Fantastic. One last thing I want to show you guys before we take off. This is probably one of my favorite prints that he's done. I don't know if I can see this without the glare. It's the classic Han Solo Greedo scene, but with a Kirk twist, a Star Trek twist. So we got Star Trek, Star Wars. Yeah. You don't have to feud. You don't have to decide which one's better.
Naptown Buzz is brought to you by our supporters at Patreon.